Guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Love After Lockup. This is season 5, and I think this is episode 39. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Julian and Christine, since I forgot about them last time. So we see her doing like a video diary where she's explaining that she got a job, and she's also kind of irritated that when Julian's kids are over, she has to stay on the third floor. We end up seeing Julian come home. She's excited to see him, and they embrace each other. We find out that the job is a waitressing job, and that Julian just came home from actually having a conversation with his ex-wife. So the ex-wife pretty much says she don't want Christine around her kids because Julian was like, they had a conversation. He mentioned Christine and like her name and everything. And so the girl got the Googling and found like, Christine's mug shots and her robbing them 6 banks and was like, you're not about to have that lady around my kids. And I feel like that's not fair, even though I understand what the ex-wife is saying. But if she's already staying there and you're okay with your kids being over there when she's over there, but you don't want them to meet, that's weird to me. Like, it would be better for you to just have a sit down with them, with her. And based off of the pictures that I've seen of the kids up on the wall in Julian's house, they're not like teenagers. They look like the kids are probably like still in elementary school. So they're still old enough where you can have conversations with them where they could understand like who she is and like why she's staying at dad's house. And you could explain to them her criminal past and move on from it. But the ex-wife was like, it's not okay. And Christine feels like, even if she was Mother Teresa, which that's not a good example after, the things that came out about her. But she was basically saying, even if I was this amazing person or a modeled citizen, she still would have an issue with it because her and Julian are constantly at odds. And Julian is like, I understand. I'm just trying to keep the peace because Christine feels like Julian got her in prison. And he's like, no, like you can come down when you want, just not when they're here. And she's like, that's not fair. Like, this is my home. And I'm like, it's not. It's not. You haven't contributed to the bills. This is you crashing for right now. And my thing about it is he's paid for so much stuff for you. He's paying for your lawyer so you can get your kids back. He's trying to find money for something else. Stop complaining. Like, I'm not saying that she doesn't have a right to be annoyed at the fact that he got her up in the basement, but like it's been 2 episodes and each time we see Christine, she got an attitude or she's being very sarcastic about Julian pushing out all this money for her, which she don't got no qualms about. And granted, he might have gave her this picture like that he has this money or he has these ducats, but like now he doesn't have it. So either you gonna leave him and move on, or you're going to stay with him and try to live within the means that he's giving you. Because you getting an attitude talking about you're more afraid of her than you are of me. And I'm like, well, that's the mother of his kids. Like, he's trying to make sure that things are okay between all of y'all. So then she gets mad because she was like, I can't put pictures up of me and my kids. All I want is to see my kids. She then starts to like argue with Julian, but Julian is like, I'm not about to argue with you. And he leaves the house, gets in the car and like goes off. And Christine is like, that's what Julian always does. He doesn't argue. He shuts down and he doesn't want to go back and forth with me. And I'm like, if you know that's not how he operates, then why are you doing that? That means like if you want to get somewhere with him, then change the behavior. It's very simple, Christine. Very simple. So then we have, it's like the next day and we see Julian and he's in his car. And I was like, at first, who is he talking to? He got his laptop on his lap and we find out that he was doing a job interview. I was like, sir, you could have definitely went to the local library and like just, register a room or went to like a nice little hotel office space. But I was like, taking an interview in your car is very much a choice. But he takes the interview in the car. He says he thinks it went well. We end up finding out that unfortunately he got laid off. Like, he realized that his company was having issues. They had already stopped receiving that many clients and things. Like, they didn't get any more contracts. And so he got laid off about a week ago. Now he's trying to find a job. So he's doing interviews. We then see this scene of Christine at her job. She's, like I said, she's a waitress. She gets along very well with her coworkers. One of her coworkers has a lot to say that she's really not a big fan of Julian. She feels like Julian is controlling and like he's trying to control her now. And I kind of got an attitude, or I was not an attitude, but I was annoyed with her response because I'm like, if he's paying for everything and your friend just got a job, and granted, coworkers only tell us what their partner has done wrong. They not telling us what Christine, I bet you, is not saying what she has done wrong. But I'm just kind of like, you got a lot of mouth for somebody who you working with that you don't know like that. Okay. So we find out that she got a tattoo on like her chest, like right here of Julian's name because she was trying to prove that she really loved him. I said a tattoo don't mean nothing to me. So her friends were like, "Oh, we could all go drinking. Like, do you want to come?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll ask Julian if you want to come." So she goes outside. Julian is she's like, "You want to go drinking? Like out with us drinking?" And he's like, "Not really." We find out that Julian is not really happy about this job. Like he's happy she got a job, but he's also kind of worried that she got a job in the service industry because that could be like a gateway to like drugs. And he not lying. He not lying. He really not. But he's like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm just about to go home. I got to prepare for this interview." And she was like, "What interview?" And he was like, "Don't worry about it." And I feel like he did that on purpose. And low key, this storyline starting to feel kind of fake. But then again, I don't know how fake it is because we did find out that Julian got arrested back in April for trying to steal out of Walmart and Christine was helping him. So maybe he was telling the truth. But Christina's like, he's the worst liar ever. I'ma just walk home. I said, "Girl, you're not walking home." So Julian gets out the car and he's like, "Christine, wait, like Christine, talk to me, girl, talk to me." And she was like, "What's up with you? Because you've been real snappy lately. Like, what's up with you?" And he finally cops to the fact that he lost his job. And she was like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" Mind you, Christine, stop putting them chokers around your neck. I don't like chokers in general, but stop doing that. Yeah. It just it's because of that story I remember reading as a kid where like the girl's head was cut off and they tied a ribbon around her neck. And like ever since chokers have always made me uncomfortable. So I don't like seeing them on people. And so what's it called? Julian tells her the truth. She's like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" And he's like, "Well, I didn't want you to worry about it. We already got enough stress as it is, and I didn't know if this was gonna make you relapse or if you were gonna start stressing, and I didn't want you to be doing all of that." And she was like, "You should have told me, but now we can figure out a plan moving forward." Good for them. About Arthur and Hope. I need them to get off this show. Because, Love After Lockup is supposed to be ghetto. It's supposed to be ghetto. It's supposed to be cringy. It's supposed to be messy. It's not supposed to give me trauma. Because that is all I see when it comes to Hope and Arthur is trauma. And just two people who should have never been together and who desperately need to go to therapy. And I mean legit, like sit down and just really like unpack their issues because I just be looking at them like, my God, today. Like, y'all got problems. And like, y'all should not be together. So we see them in the car. They're on their way to, I don't know what they called it, but I'm just going to call it a religious center because I don't think they called it a mosque, and I don't think it was a mosque because it looked like it was it. But then again, there's churches that be in, we call them like what do we call them, like storefront churches, and this looked like a storefront mosque to me. But I don't know if that's disrespectful because I don't think it's disrespectful when we say it, but that's not my religion. But pretty much they are going to a religious center to practice, Arthur's religion, which is Islam. So they walk up into the center, but you can tell that they're both kind of like, they got things on them. They got stuff on their back. You can tell that they're both like weighed down by what happened with Arthur last episode. It's probably been like a few weeks since he had like that dissociative break and a mental breakdown where he was seeing demons. And you could really see his face when they show the flashback. He was not there. He was not there. So we also find out that Hope is kind of getting tired of footing the bill for everything, and that Arthur is struggling to find a job. But Hope feels like he's not really putting in a lot of work, because oftentimes every day he just getting up, going to sleep, and going, like, eat, sleep, going back to bed, and that's like starting to piss her off. So they get to the center. They meet the, I guess, I don't know if it is his center. I don't think he's a pastor, but maybe he is like a worship leader, because he was the one that was leading when they were doing their prayer. But he walks in, he greets Arthur and Hope. We find out that the door that they went through is only for men, and there's also there's another entrance for the women. And then, so I guess they have to either go back around, or maybe a different part of the building they enter. And so the guy's like, it's okay because you guys are guests, but everyone's welcome here. So we actually see the mentor's wife, I think her name is Martha. So they sit down on the couch, and Arthur basically explains to them that, like, while he was in prison, he really lost his connection with his faith, because in prison it was like pretty difficult to see who was a real Muslim and who wasn't, because we know a lot of the brothers that go in there who been raised Baptist, Episcopal, Kojic, go into prison, and next thing you know, they Muslims, but they don't adhere to the teachings. So Arthur pretty much was like, there was a lot of people in there that converted, but really wasn't about the actual, like, trying to walk that life with their faith. So he kind of lost his way because he stopped practicing it really while he was incarcerated. And the guy's like, that's okay, we got you here. So Martha ends up telling Hope, let's go to the women's side. And unfortunately, we find out that Hope was SA'd while she was by a family member while she was in church for a year. I think she said at the age of 11, and that's horrible. And so she has a different relationship with religion. She also explained to the lady that, like, she dressed very provocatively, and she was like, I see how you're dressed. And Martha ends up explaining, like, girl, I was Catholic, but then when I got with my husband, I switched up. And she explains that, like, in their faith, it says that you're supposed to cover yourself, I guess, not to distract the men, or like that beauty is not supposed to be seen by everybody. And so Hope actually liked that, because she was like, oh, that's great that you could come to church and not be sexualized. But honestly, men can sexualize anything. They be sexualizing fruit. But I got where she was coming from. So I thought the conversation got real interesting when Hope brought up about the money situation, and Martha said he should be ashamed for taking your money. His money is your money, and your money is your money. So y'all got to fix that. I said, ooh. Now he need to be ashamed. So we actually see Arthur do the prayer with other members that were there that were worshiping. And the guy actually tells Arthur he can come back. Arthur explains that, like, oftentimes he hears the devil speaking to him being like, hey, you low on money, we should do this, we should do that. But I'm like, I don't want to do that. So he was like, he feels at peace. And the guy was like, definitely come back if you need to. And I think it was nice that that he was so welcoming to them, and that he could see. I think, like, you could tell that man could tell that Arthur needed prayer, needed them hands put on them. So they leave the place. They end up going, we see them go on this date where it's actually at like a sewing place, which looked really cool. Like, if they have one where I'm at, I'm gonna see if I can go. Maybe I can make me a little like Halloween hoodie or something. But they're there. The lady is showing them how to, like, use the sewing machine. Hope actually bought Arthur a sewing machine, but while he was in prison, he only sewed things by hand. So she was like, he rarely touches their sewing machine. So she's like, I wanted to do this as a date. And I do like the fact that Hope is doing she's doing dates that are in Arthur's interest, like taking him to the fabric store. Now you're taking him to a sewing class, and she's really showing him, like, I believe in you. I believe in your passion. So while they're standing there, they pretty much get into it because Hope explains to him how Martha said, you should be ashamed of yourself that you taking my money. And Arthur says, well, I don't feel good about taking your money, but like, it's been hard for me to get a job. And he's not lying. Like, he a felon. It's going to be hard for him to get a job. He was like, I put in like a bunch of applications and I'm waiting to hear back. He was like, do you want me to give you like a progress report as I put in my applications? I said, okay, sir, what is with this attitude? Because at the end of the day, you are staying at her house rent free. And if she asking you to find a job, find a job. Like, you knew when you was in prison, when you got out, that's what she expected of you. So there ain't no reason for you to have a little pissy fit about her being like, are you actively working on doing that? So then Hope brings up about marriage and like him re-proposing to her because he proposed to her while he was in prison, but she wants a new proposal. Girl, if you wanted a proposal, you should never took that proposal because I wouldn't have took it. But then again, I ain't never getting into no situation with no felon, okay? So, he was like, I don't plan on redoing it. And she was like, why not? And he was like, because I don't think we need to. And then she brings up his ex where he proposed to her after a couple of months. And I guess it might have been way more special. And he was like, you knew that wasn't real. That was fake because the relationship didn't work out. And she was like, well, Hope's in her confessional being like, well, I feel like I deserve more because I put out more. I'm not comparing. Girl, you comparing. But she was like, I deserve more. And then Arthur's in his confessional being like, you won't even tell your sisters about me. You think I'm going to propose to you? But then he going to say, but we're engaged. And so Hope is like, what does an engagement mean to you? And he was like, if this is like, to see if this is going to work out. I said, the nigga, we dating. That's not an engagement. If a man gets down on his knees and proposes to me, that means I have cemented in my mind that the next step is marriage. We've already dated for a long period of time where we figured out it works. You talking about engagement is for us to figure it out to see if this is worth it. Oh, Arthur be playing games. Arthur be playing games. And again, they don't need to be together because they're both two people that don't know, that are not on the same page, that are wanting things out of each other that they cannot give to one another. They just need to break up. Let's talk about Joey and Kim. Joey is struggling being a stay-at-home dad. So he's waking the boys up. He's moving pretty slow with getting them ready. Kim walks in there and she was like, let me help you out because you moving slow. And I'm looking at Kim like, girl, he only been a stay-at-home daddy for like 2 weeks. Give him a chance, okay? But he's struggling, moving slow like molasses. And so he's trying to cook breakfast. He forgot to like give them the breakfast. And Kim was like, Joey, did you feed them? And then he's like, sometimes I be forgetting to feed them, but he likes being around the boys. We find out that he's going to go put new tires on his car. So Kim is like, don't spend too much. You just need to get tires. And he's like, I bet. So he hops in the car and he's like, I'm heading down to Greensboro to go get me some rims. And he was like, I know I told Kim I'm just getting tires, but I also feel like I deserve something nice, so I'm going to go get me some rims. I know where he went. When he said Greensboro and when they did the pan out of like what was in front of him, I know where that Walgreens is and I know where that Vision Work is. That was like a good, when I was living there, because I went to school in Greensboro, that was like maybe 10 minutes or 10 or 15 minutes up the street from my apartment complex. And I was like, and then when he pulled up to the place, I said, yo, I used to drive past that place all the time. I screamed. I said, yeah, that's one thing I do like when I watch reality shows is if it's in a place that I know, sometimes it's just cool to see it on TV. But I was like, bro, that place is like 10 or 15 minutes up the street of where I used to live when I was in college. That's funny as hell to me. So he pulls in. We end up seeing him meet up with his friend Frank and another guy who was also in the same prison he was in at the time. But Frank's been like his childhood friend. So when Joey gets in there, he tells the dude he wants some rims and this. The guy tells him it's $2,500. I say, yo. And then Joey was like, I'm not really worried about it. Like, Kim gave me the card and she has mobile banking. So like, it's going to pop up on her phone anyway. So like, I'll deal with it later. I said, that's somebody that don't care about you because the fact that I told you not to do something, you blatantly doing it, and you like, I don't care if it pops up on my phone. Yeah, no. So the guy's like, okay, I got you, bro. Y'all can go play pool. We got like the TV on, get you something to drink. We got you because it's going to take us a minute to put the rims and the tires on your car. So while him and his friend are playing pool, he talking about how much he loved Kim. And I said, you don't love her. You are actively disrespecting her right now by spending $2,500 on rims and tires when you know that is her money and you know that money is also for her kids. You don't love her. Okay, you just saying things. You love the fact that she got money. And that's also Kim's fault because she's been leading with her money. You've been that man's sugar mama for the past 6 years. So, girl, both of y'all are stupid. So while they're in there, Joey's phone keeps dinging. And we find out that it's his ex-girlfriend that Kim has issues with, that was like him and her and Joey have been going back and forth. We find out that Joey's friend asked him like, hey, can I give so-and-so your number? She wants to talk to you. So Joey was under the impression that she wanted to like congratulate him from getting out and was going to be happy for him that he was with Kim. But no, she been messaging him left and right, talking about, I need to speak to you. I need to talk to you. Like, this is what I think she said. She said, why am I blocked? She said, I would never hurt you or cause you to do anything to get you where you've been. I took care of you and you will always be my true love. Damn, she already jealous. Well, I want a relationship with you. I miss you and I will always love you, Joey. We both know that about each other. Let's plan something. Relationship as in a relationship as in us being friends, knowing each other again, being there for each other and having fun. Girl, you a hussy. Yeah, hussy, because you know he with Kim. But also, I was with his friend Frank when Frank was like, Joey is a player, and I don't negate that he is probably leading that girl on for her to be sending messages like that. And I was like, you know what, friend? You right, because then the girl says this pretend family thing. She said the pretend family thing. Should I just go ahead and show Kimberly my missed call log of the thousands times you called me, all the letters? So yeah, Joe, I'm with the friend. Like, he definitely probably been in communication with that girl, and he likes the fact that that girl is still pining after him. And you know Joey been in jail for a long time because don't nobody have their phone attached to their hip like a belt anymore, sir, or a beeper. Like, he got the phone just right there popping it off. I said, I ain't seen one of them since I was like a kid, like a baby, like a toddler. I remember those things, but I was like, those were normally like adults would have, not somebody that's like, not now. I don't think anybody does that unless they in like their 50s. So we see Joey get home and he's cooking dinner. The boys are at his mom's house. Kim gets back from work and then she sees the rims on the car and she's like, are you for real? So she walks in the house and she was like, why are there rims on your car and how much did you spend? And he was like, $250. Like I think he says $2,500. And she's like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like, I told you not to spend that much. And Joey was like, well, I felt like I deserved something nice. And the rims was going to be, like, he was like, the tires were going to be $500. I said $500 versus an extra $2,000 are two totally different things. And she's like, that was, why are you just out here just spending money frivolously? She's like, you know, we have an engagement party coming up. Like, I got to buy a new dress. He was like, that engagement party is for you, not for me. Like, honestly, we could just go down to the Justice of Peace. And she was like, that's what you really want? He was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. And then that just like, and it's hard to feel bad for Kim, because I definitely feel bad for the boys that are in this, because Kim is complaining about how she ain't got no money, but yet you have $15,000 to spend on somebody that was in prison. You didn't think about saving that $15,000. And the reason why I say it's hard is because clearly she just wants to have this whole wedding thing to like show to everybody. Because why was the first thing that came out your mouth was, I got to buy a new dress for the engagement party? Why wasn't it like, you spent money that's for my kids? Like, that is what's more important. So then she gets mad and she's like, I can't with you right now. So she goes to the other bedroom and she's talking to production, just being like, he's just spending all this money and he know we ain't got it like that. And I don't have time for him to run back to the streets trying to get more money. And Joey's like, she gonna get over it. It is what it is. And I said, see this? This is your fault, Kim. That man don't respect you. He sees you as his sugar mama, and he knows that you're so desperate to be with him that he can blatantly do anything to you, and you gonna just accept it because you've been accepting it this far. Because there is no way, bro. No way I give you a budget and you blow it up that much. And then gonna be talking to your friend saying you love me. Yeah, that man don't love you. That man loves what you can do for him. And you were stupid enough to buy that man a car. Dumb. Shonta, girl, mess. So we find out that True did get to sleep in the bed with Shonta. He was sleeping on the futon, but then he decided to come get in bed with her, and she didn't kick him out. She is like playing with a hanger in front of him because she likes the fact that he's back in her space. Shonta leaning up against the wall, being like, it was nice that you came and slept with me. He was like, see, you do miss me. She was like, you getting ahead of yourself. I said, girl, shut up, Shonta. She then is like, I'm glad you went and bought things for the baby. All it was Jordan socks. Them socks that mean nothing. Girl, them kids don't care about them stupid socks. And I was like, and that you happy about some socks? I would have been more impressed if True went and got diapers. If he would have went and got some Similac, a breast pump, a diaper, a trash can, something of value, but some freaking socks. I'm gonna let it go. But when people are impressed by like name brand stuff that trivial, like baby socks, it just shows their mentality. And True is still an 18-year-old boy in his head. We also find out that this man got a 15-year-old son. And I'm like, we're just finding out that you have a 15-year-old child, and we ain't heard you talk about that boy not one time, and we're already on the 9th episode or maybe the 8th episode of the season. And you just now saying like, oh, I had like so we found out when he got locked up, his child was like a baby. And now his child is 15 years old. And I was like, have you made way to go talk to that boy? Make a relationship with him? Or are you just running around town trying to get pussy? And this is who you want in your life, Shonta? Choices. Girl, choices. So today they're supposed to be going to do the ultrasound. She told True she don't know if she is probably not going to allow him to be a part of the ultrasound. And he's like, what you mean? And she was just like, I don't think we there yet. Like, you doing things that I think are great, but like, you're not going to get my hopes up high and then douse them because you mess up. So they get in the car and head there. While they're there, he coming up with baby names, talking about if since it's twin, we can name the boy Truth and the other girl. No, the boy True and the other girl Truth. And she said no. I said that's stupid. And I wouldn't want my child to be named after their daddy, especially when you ain't amount to nothing. No. So they go to some like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, why are we not at a doctor's office? A birthing center? A OBGYN. Like, I was so confused that they were at some place called the Belly Image. And it looked like some backstory. Like, I was concerned. Because when they walked in there, it gave like fleet. Like, it really gave me like some Goodwill, like thrifting type of vibe. Because they got clothes in the back with tags on them. You got some random cupboard on the door and a table. And then like when Shonta goes in, because she tells True, like, you not coming in. And he's like, you really not gonna let me in? Like, you really not gonna let me? And she was like, no, like, I don't think he deserves it. So she goes in there and I'm like, is this sterile? Because it's not giving sterile. But she goes in there to do the ultrasound. True standing outside telling production he wants to be in there because this might be his only chance. Because since he fudged up his parole because he wasn't taking it seriously, his PO basically told him, next time we meet, you might be going back to jail or being placed on house arrest because the address that he was using, which was his mom's address, you remember she kicked her out and it got found out that he was staying at somebody else's address. So Shantae's sitting in there, and then she decides not to do the ultrasound because she was like, she didn't want to take that moment away from True because she wanted to experience it with him. So, but she ends up telling him that she didn't do it. Side note, why does True always sit on the top of his car? Like, he just get up there and just be sitting there, posted up. Like, I don't know why that bothers me. And maybe it's because I'm like, because I think it's childish. But then I got to remember that he's still in the mindset of like a 17-year-old. Because you can definitely tell he did not read any books while he was in prison. None of value. So she lies to him and tells him it went great. That they everything's fine with the baby, but he doesn't know that she didn't actually get the ultrasound. So while they're in the car, she's telling them like, hey, we're having game night and I want you to come, and my best friend's coming. And so he meets the kids. We see like her 2 granddaughters, they're running around, and I don't think we see the 19-year-old that's pregnant. We just see one of her daughters and her son, and like I said, the grandkids, they're playing charades. It seems like they're having a good time. And then her friend that we saw last time, she pulled up, and she is lucky. Shantae is lucky for that girl. Because when I tell you that girl was pressing True, and I was happy because she was like, what are your intentions? And he was like, well, I want to get her back. And she was like, okay, Ann, like, honestly, I don't see no consistency with you. Like, what's your job? He was like, the casino. And she was like, so are you working there? Are you gambling? He was like, I gamble. And she was like, so I'm looking for a job that you clock in every day, you get a W-2 for. And he's like, well, they take taxes out of it. She was like, that's not a W-2. And I said, thank you. So then we see her do like a solo confessional outside where she basically says that Shantae is purposely ignoring red flags because she wants her happily ever after. And I just really want to shake her and tell her that this is not going to happen and that she deserves better. And I say, yeah, girl, but your friend is stupid. So then True drops this bomb about how he might be going back to jail and it was after the friend was like, are you going to be here? Like, that is ultimately what we need to know. And he's like, well, I guess this time is a good time for me to say it. So he basically says that he wants Shantae to come back with him to Cape Town or whatever they call it, because he has to go meet with his parole officer and he needs to know if she gonna stick it out with him. And she was like, had he told me that when he was sitting on my porch, I would have closed the door in his face. I said, I don't believe you. But also I was like, he ain't shit for that. Like, you expect her to put her life on pause for you, because he's like, if she can't stick it out with me now, then what we have? What are you talking about? And Shantae being dumb, being like, okay, like, you should have told me sooner because now I got to rearrange stuff. So we end up seeing them actually leave in the morning to go to his city. It's like 5 hours or 6 hours away from where she lived. He's speeding on the highway like a bat out of hell. She's like, can you slow down? Because you doing a lot. He's not really concerned about her. He's just speeding. So he actually gets to his town sooner than she does. And he meets up with some girl. We don't see her, but I guess she bought him a jacket. And he's like, don't it look good on me? And she's like, it's okay. And then it's unaudible, which makes me believe that they was kissing. Because I'm just like, why can't you hear anything now? But it sounded like they were kissing. And so True is like, I'm not worried about Shantae. Like, I already told her I got female friends. No, you have hoes that you be messing around with. And because you're a whore. Okay? And Shantae's stupid for thinking that a man that was in jail for 13 years is going to commit to her. So she called him and she's like, where you at? And he's like, oh, I'm almost there. Like, give me a couple of minutes. Like, I got lost. It's dark. I took the wrong exit. And she was like, you got lost in your side of town? And I said, yeah, girl, he playing games and you allowed him to play in your face because you desperate. Kira and Troy. Troy needs to get away from that lady. I need Troy to get a divorce. Like, file for divorce and go live with your mama in Buffalo. Work on that relationship and have a better relationship with your daughter. Burn that birth certificate or find a way to get your name off that certificate, because the way Zahira was acting was so unhinged and erratic that I really feel like she gonna get you caught back up and send you back to prison. Like, I was like, what is, like, and I was mad at production because I feel like had the roles been reversed and Zahira was I don't know, what's a man Z name, was Zeus or something, yelling at Tracy, they would have came in and broke up the situation. But they waited too long, because I was like, she is giving very much like abusive energy. Like, I really feel like she might put her hands on him, and I think she did put her hands on him. So she's mad because they can't find Troy. She's also mad that Karen is on the phone with Yana and telling production how Yana told her that Zahira was out here having an affair on Troy. So you can hear Zahira because she's mic'd up, but you can't see her. And she was like, I'm trying to calm down. I'm trying to calm down. She think I can't hear her, but I can hear her. So then she's starting to get real irritated. So then she calls her sister Zion. We remember her. We saw her on the first episode. And she's like, she was like, Yana's being a messy bitch. She bringing up old stuff. And Karen acting like she don't know what's going on. And so Karen's like, you know what? I'm going to try to go talk to Zahira. So she knocks on the door, and Zahira just starts yelling at Karen. Talk about, like, you trying to play like you don't know what's going on. Talking about, I'm cheating on my husband. And Karen is like, the story that Yana told me, I thought was new. I did not know it was that old story. So we find out when Troy was, like, a year ago, when Troy was in prison, Zahira had an affair on him. She was struggling being, like, she was struggling not having sex, and she craved her sins or whatever, and she slept with somebody. So Troy was planning on, like, breaking up with her, but Karen told him, like, no, try to work it out, because ain't nobody gonna hold you down. Like, she been holding you down this whole entire time. Give her a chance, because I wouldn't have held you down. And she was like, so give her a chance. She's different. So they worked through it. So Karen is like, yo, I'm sorry. Like, I was under the impression it was something new. My bad. We seeing Karen's like breasts in her bra, just jingle jangling and stuff like that. And Zahira is still mad. They showed old pictures of Zahira. Definitely, I don't know what happened to her face. I don't know why she got acne all over her face, or if this is some Facetune stuff, but she definitely looked better. The hair looked better. So I don't know where she went from having fox locks and a nice, little sew-in to now she got that ugly Peggy Bundy, like, gelled down, like, jammed up ponytail. Like, what happened, girl? What happened? What you been through? So then Troy finally gets there in there, and Karen is like, where have you been? And so he knocks on the door to talk to her. She was like, you know what? Zahira opens up her bedroom door. She was like, get the F out of my house. Get the F out of my house. You could go. She takes off her wedding ring, throws it on the floor, and she, like, slams the door in Troy's face. So then she's, like, real angry because she's just, like, she's real pissed off. She starts yelling at Troy and was like, get the F out of my house. Just get out, get out, get out. So Troy is like, I bet. So then he's like, if you want me to leave, we leaving to go see my daughter. So he, like, is, like, knocking on the door trying to give her stuff. And so she's like, she gets mad. And it's like, when I tell you, she was giving very much unhinged energy, because you just yelled at this man and his mom. And that shows the type of person you are, because you were so upset that Karen didn't respect your parents, and you were saying how, like, the way a man treats his mom says a lot about him. The way you treat other people's parents say a lot about you too, especially your significant other's parents, because you want everybody to respect your mom and dad, but you couldn't give Karen any respect. And for them to be so, like, we worship God, I definitely don't think they would enjoy the display that you showed, because if I was your dad or mom, I would be mad embarrassed. And if I was a parishioner of that church, I would be like, is this what y'all be raising? Because clearly the word of God ain't in her. So I don't know if I need to come here. I don't know if I need to be the 11th member. So she going off. So then once she realized that Troy and his mama are about to leave, all of a sudden she getting angry, talking about the only person she want to speak to is Troy. And then she opens the door talking about, get the F in here. Get the F in here, Troy. Because he's trying to give her her stuff back. And so he's like, no, I'm not about to get in there if you're going to be acting like this. She was like, if you don't want, she was like, no, Troy, get the F in here now. So then Troy comes in there. She slams the door. And when I tell you, I really feel like she put hands on that man behind them doors, because it sounded like some fumbling of hands, because she was like, why are you talking to that? Why is she over here telling people that I cheated on you? She was going off behind the closed door. So then you see production knocking on the door, being like, Zahira, open the door. And she's not trying to open the door. And you hear her say, I told you didn't have to call her. And I'm like, yes, he does, because how is he going to get in contact with the mother of his child so he can meet his child? He hasn't seen the girl since she was a baby. It's been 7 years. What are you talking about, girl? And it's so disgustingly hypocritical that you are acting this way and you have a child whose dad doesn't even want to be in that boy's life. And you are actively trying to hinder this man to see his child. Like, it's disgusting that you are this insecure that you started an argument with this man and got this violent with him, because production keeps knocking on the door like, Zahira, open the door. She's like, I'm not, because I'm naked. I'm not opening the door because I'm naked. And they're like opening the door. They try to open the door. She slams it in the production's face. Then they try to open it again. And then she throws her bra out there so they can't film her, because they can't film you while you're naked. And then that's when the episode goes off. Troy, get away from that lady. Get away from her. And I know you not, I hope you're not with her now, but you probably are, because I saw the preview or the trailer for Life after lockup, and I think Karen and the whole squad is on there. But get away from her. Like, I hope you got an exit plan. Like, I would not even be mad at you if you cheat on her. I wouldn't, because if she acting like that and he's only been out for 4 days, I can only imagine how worse she's going to get. Because when I tell you, that was so, that was just like, I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, she was acting batshit crazy over him calling another woman who is actually the mother of his. She crazy. Girl, if I was Yana, don't have your daughter around her. Do not have your daughter around her, because she might do something to your child with that type of angry energy. And what's gonna be crazy is when we see Yana and she look better than her. Because it's given that you insecure, because she might look better than you, and you know she got pull on Troy. So yeah, crazy. Y'all, that is it. That is all. As always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in them comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.